Hello and good afternoon. I'm Mohana for BBTV, and you are tuned in to a special segment called Keluarga Melaka, in conjunction with the Melaka state election that's about to be held on the 20th of November. We are bringing you this live program, live streaming with a special guest. All right, and let me introduce just a little bit about our special guest. He is no stranger to Malaysian politician. In fact, he is a Malaysian politician. He has served as a member of the Melaka State Legislative Assembly since the May 2013 for Sungai Udang seat. Yeah, he's also a former member of the Melaka State Executive Council. He was the 10th Chief Minister for Melaka, a former Deputy Minister for Higher Education, and the President of the World Youth Assembly. Our guest is none other than Datuk Seri Idris Harun. So let's welcome Datuk Seri Idris Harun onto the screen. Datuk Seri, how are you today?
Couldn't be better, Mohana. Thank you for the description.
Thank you, Datuk, for joining us on such a short notice on a very auspicious day today for the Muslims worldwide. In fact,
thank you very much for reminding me that. Thank you very much.
And it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Yesterday, my colleague was with you in Melaka, and they were having a session with you. And so this is basically a follow-up to what they spoke with you yesterday. And based on that, I'm going to be asking you some questions, and it might be a little hard-hitting, straight to the heart, straight to the bone, but I believe you will be able to deliver what the audience want to hear. So we welcome all our audience to the program, to the special segment titled Puppet or Chief Minister Designate. Dato, so are you ready?
Wow, even the title is already hard for me. But anyway, it can be a hard talk. Well, as the proverb always say that you have to swallow it. You have to swallow it even if it's hard. Yeah.
All right. So Dato, I'm going to go straight in after the developments of what's been happening over the last couple of weeks. And yesterday, the announcement from the Election Commission chairman has already announced that we have the dates, we have the nomination dates, the early voting dates, and the polling. Melaka will go for polls on the 20th of November. And we're expecting about 496,000 voters to be able to cast their votes. And the good news is the chairman has also said that there is no restrictions for those who have not taken their vaccines yet. However, he's encouraged them to be vaccinated beforehand, so we could all be safe. All right. So Dato, after you have spoken to my colleague yesterday afternoon, and we understand there were some developments in Melaka last night, as reported by certain media outlets, and some of our sources have also said that you have met with opposition leader Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. So we're going to ask you the first question. We're going to jump right in. All right. Datuk, can you tell us how was the meeting last night with you and three others who were instrumental in retracting the support for the Chief Minister? How was the situation last night?
Yeah. It was all right. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to BBTV for allowing me this session. Indeed, I was with your colleague in Melaka yesterday, and we were quite deliberative in clarifying what has been taking place in Melaka for the past couple of weeks, Mohana. And as your question is spot on, I was invited by PKR Melaka yesterday to attend a program which officiated by the president of PKR, none other than Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Then the session was very pleasant to us. We were welcome with the cry, reformasi, and it was really like being in a big family of Pakatan Harapan. There was a session, a speech by the PKR leader of Melaka explaining to the members, especially the branch leaders, the division leaders, on what is exactly going on in Melaka. As you know, that Melaka has been in tremendous attention of the whole nation for what have been taking place. We see that it is almost a constitutional crisis in Melaka when the dissolution was announced or was proclaimed by a not supposed to be the man who made the announcement. And we believe that it was done in rush, so quickly done. The dissolution was proclaimed, and suddenly after it was proclaimed, they tried to avoid the election by suggesting to the federal government to introduce emergency for the state of Malacca. So we can see that a flip-flop by the government who doesn't own the majority. We know that in Malacca we are having confusion now, arithmetic especially, when the Malacca state government induced the people of Malacca, which is 13, is bigger than 15. It is a joke now. And our main worries is that it will become a constitutional crisis. At the same time, it will be an insultation to the institution of the governor of Malacca. So all this become a display observed by the people, and we know that most people now is in the know of what is exactly going on. So coming back to our meeting with Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim semalam, yesterday, so it was a very pleasant meeting. The order of the day was so fine, the speech by the PKR leader of Malacca, and then the speech by the DAP leader of Malacca. Then it was really like I was caught by surprise when suddenly a message from Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, he wanted me to deliver a speech representing the other three to say a few words. So I took that opportunity to explain to the audience of what is going on actually. I've explained to the audience that it was really a calculated risk. We don't just simply dive and tell the people that we were withdrawing our support from the Chief Minister because of the Chief Minister become a puppet of somebody else and the intervention of many parties in the state government affairs. It was also like we don't believe the government, so-called, they call it the Malay Islamic government. This is the first time after independence the state government of Malacca comprises of all Malay Muslim, and we are actually advocating the Malay Muslim, and I don't believe that. And I was telling the audience yesterday, which do you prefer? The immoral, without integrity, the incompetent, the irresponsible Malay Muslim government comprises of Malay Muslim, in comparison to the unity government comprises of all races that is more Islamic. You know, this is the main issues of Malacca now, and we see a lot of activities not according to the law, the economic cake are not divided proportionately to all races. All this actually drive us into making those big decisions. So Mohana, it was actually not a simple move. We know that we are actually exposing ourselves to all criticism. We are being labeled as traitors and called by all names. So we are prepared to do all this, and we believe with the combination of 11 YB from PH. Mohana, please bear in mind that it was not actually like people say lompat kata. It is not lompat actually. It is actually withdrawal the support, exactly like the 12 MPs did to Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin when he was the Prime Minister. You remember? Yes. So when they withdrew the support, and Tan Sri Muhyiddin had to pay an audience to the Agong, and then simply surrender the resignation, submit the resignation letter. And it was supposed to be happening in Malacca, but it's not happening at all. So we have to clarify all this chronology to the audience, and then it was welcome. It was welcomed by the audience, and then I received a big round of applause for telling them that we cannot move on with this government. There will be a new political horizon. We need Malaysian to be properly represented. The Malay, the Chinese, the Indian, the main society, the main ethnic of Malaysian must be properly, proportionately represented in the government, representing the voice of their people. And this is our big picture of moving Malacca from one compartment that thinking about just one ethnic centric, now moving with a big leap towards a better government. We used to enjoy that before, and we want that glorious to return now. So, Mohanas, after my speech, then there was Adli's speech explaining the details on how PH performing when they were the government. They always go against the idea of politics over and above the government. So this is an idea what the current government is upholding. The current government is upholding the idea of politics over and above the government. And Adli was explaining that during the 22 months of PH government, they will always put politics aside when come to reach out to the people, especially the needies. The needies need not to submit themselves to a politician, and at the end of the day, the politician will be discriminative, whether you support me or not, and they're supposed to become impartial when come to assisting the people on the ground. So the idea of assisting people on the ground should be encompassing every race on the ground, every ethnic on the ground. Shouldn't be one ethnic or one centric ethnic. So when I finished my speech, Adli delivering the speech, then they have Sim from PKR who explaining the approach of the current situation in Malacca, especially on the social media approach, the reach out on the face-to-face, and those will be the methodology to be utilized on the ground during this Malacca state election. And finally, we heard a speech from Datuk Sri Anwar. As usual, you know that he has this capability, his oratorical skill is tremendous, undeniable, and he relates how the celebration, the ceremony of celebrating the birthday of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to be induced to people not just as a ceremony. There have to be real observation on Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam addressing the people. And it was well known that Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a true leader when he addressed all society equally and fairly and justly. So Anwar's speech always related to the political situation in Malacca, and I found that he exposed us to the Huntington, the clash of civilization. The clash of civilization is not actually the clash of civilization, because civilization will never be clash. The clash is actually on the ignorance, the clash of ignorance. And he was mentioning about the intellectual delusion by some parties in Malaysia who think that they are smart, they can handle the people, who think they are structured, systematic, they are full of strategies, and suddenly during the election they are being voted out by the people. So all this, when we put them together, we can see a serious mission of how can we make sure the people of Malacca to vote out the corrupted, the irresponsible, the incompetent government to be replaced by a competent, responsible, and reliable government in this state election.
All right, Dato' Sri, thank you for your response to the question. I couldn't help but to think back and to, my mind is stuck on what you mentioned earlier. They invited you in with the shout, with the cry of Refo Masi, and also you mentioned that you could feel you were very welcomed into the Pakatan Harapan family. Dato' Sri, does that mean, or do you think you are able to reveal to us now that you have in fact joined as a member in one of those Pakatan Harapan parties, DAP? I don't know whether it could be DAP, Amanah, or PKR, but do you think you can let us know right now that you have officially, in fact, pen to paper that you are part of Pakatan Harapan, which will then allow me to move forward to the next question? Can you reveal that to us?
No. The pen to paper is not happening yet. We know that I consider myself as a new kid in the block.
Okay.
You know that we are coming to a complete house with full of structure, and they have their own system, and you know that they're filled with ambitious people within. So we have to be humble and come with humility. So I submit myself and the four of us to their structure and system, and I know that it's not an easy decision for them to make. But enough a lot for us, for them to recognize us. Because of us, they know that now Malacca is at the high time to experience the new political landscape. So I believe Datuk Sri Anwar and all the leaders within Pakatan Harapan are wise enough to place us anywhere there. And it's too early for me and other friends to make a decision now. We know that, as you know, that me and Datuk Azman, Datuk Azman and I has been sacked from UMNO, soon or immediately after we withdrew our support from the Chief Minister. And that withdrawal, I've been complaining to everyone, and it doesn't go through the just process. My right to be heard, I don't deserve my right to be heard, and the natural justice is not really happening when they simply put us out, down and out, and treat us like nobody. You know that I've been in the party for more than 31 years. I've served as a Supreme Council member, I've served as the divisional head, and I've served as a Pengurusi Perhubungan for more than 5 years. And all those are not taken into account when they sack us. And at the same time, I was comparing to the chairman of Liaison Malacca UMNO and also the deputy chairman who have discreetly met the EP leader of Malacca and offer them a few exco-pros and then a few facilities from the government. Instead of they seeing me, they were seeing the DAP leaders. So this is the conflict. This is the issue now. The crisis in UMNO. And since we are being treated like down and out, like nobody in UMNO, of course, as a person, as a group of people, a group of YBs, has sparked the political fiasco in Malacca. We know that we need to continue our struggle, because the struggle is not just for Malacca, it is for the whole nation. As I have mentioned earlier on, that UMNO cannot be holding on to the old module. The old module now become deficits of support, cost deficit of support from the Malay. It is contingent effect from, you know, that MCA has deficit support from the Chinese since 2008 until last election. They only won 1 seat and one in by-election, and MIC as well has deficit support from the Indian society. They only won 1 seat, if I'm not mistaken, in Perak. And now UMNO seems to be impacted with the lack of support from the Malay when we lost a lot of seats. UMNO used to enjoy more than 70 seats in the parliament, especially, and in the states more than 20 seats. But now you can see that we are experiencing deficits in the support from the Malay, the Chinese, and Indian. So if we continue with this model, we will never be the choice of the people in the future. So Mohana, what I'm trying to say here is we need to take a huge leap, a quantum leap in changing our mindset and mentality. I put it strongly across the board that if DAP can gain the support from the Chinese, why not DAP be the component of UMNO? If PKR can gain the support from the Malay, the Chinese, and Indian, why not PKR become the component of UMNO? So become a big collision. Well, it is a Barisan Nasional, like you can call it whatever you want to call it, but this will be the features of the future. This is when I call it the new horizon, the new political landscape of Malaysia under the concept of unity government. Yes, indeed, there are extremism, there are chauvinism within all parties. There are Malay races in UMNO, there are Chinese races in DAP, there are Indian races in MIC. Yes, indeed, they were there. But when come to the common table, the big table of unity government, we have to put all those extremism away. We have to look for commonality and minimize all differences for the sake of Malaysian. And I have reiterated so many times that this is the best time for UMNO to take this big move. If you don't like DAP to be called DAP, Democratic Action Party, by all means change the name to Malaysian Democratic Party or whatever it is and form the new coalition. And this new coalition will be labeled as unity government. And the best slogan for it is unity in diversity. I remember you were telling me about Keluarga Melaka just now. Keluarga Melaka, Keluarga Malaysia, Satu Malaysia. Those are all the symptoms. It has to begin with political will. We have to have a leaders with strong political will move into the different paradigm, and we need to bring Malaysia to a greater height, Mohana. And this is the big task for all politicians, all leaders. It may not be popular now, but it will be appreciated by the future generation.
Dato Sri, are you proposing Barisan Harapan Nasional, and are you hoping for something like this to kickstart in the historic state of Melaka?
Something like that, as they say that everything begins in Melaka, but I believe the idea of having a unity government properly represented by to all the ethnic in Melaka would be the best model of the best module for us to enter the future endeavors.
All right.
This is something that needs a strong political will, prudent political will. Malaysia cannot be surviving with these race-centric issues and sentiment. You know that I've been asked by many parties, by many people, even in the Quran, in conjunction with the celebration of Nabi Muhammad birthday today. In the Quran, it was mentioned like, Ya ayuhan nas inna khalaqnakum min dhakari wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uba wa qabaila lita'arafu. It means, oh mankind, you are created female and male and female, with nation and tribes, for you to be in acquaintance, to get to know each other, To get to know each other here means to appreciate each other. It's not that for us to discriminate or to disseminate each other. We are supposed to be looking for commonality. This is the teaching of the Quran. If everyone appreciate the teaching of Quran, form a political driver with the mentality to bring all people up. As I have always mentioned, in order for the Malaysian to be up, yes, indeed, the Malay has to be strong. When the Malay is strong, the Indian will be strong, the Chinese will be strong, and all other ethnic will be strong. With this strength, Malaysia will definitely success in the future.
All right, Dato Sri. So I'm guessing that will this be your campaign approach prior to nomination?
Yeah. More or less, that would be the campaign approach. We are trying to expose the people towards this new political landscape. Actually, it happened before. Remember when we had the political crisis in 1969, Mohana, when we lost Selangor. I mean, when Perikatan at that time lost Selangor, lost Perak, and lost Penang, and then there was a political uncertainties. Suddenly, we formed a Magaran, and during the Magaran, all political parties sit in one table, and they come up with a very relevant formula at that time, Barisan Nasional. You remember that DAP was also in the table, and there were splinters, then become Gerakan. Then Gerakan under Dr. Lim Chong Yu ruled Penang.
That's right.
And then we had Barisan Nasional led the country for until 2018. So that's the module relevant at that time. So now it's high time for us to come up with similar formula with the intention looking for commonality to unite all the race in Malaysia to meet the future challenges.
All right, Dato Sri, you also mentioned yesterday that sebelum ni parti jaga kerajaan, sekarang ya harusnya rakyat jaga kerajaan. So you are also mooting the idea for people, rakyat above party, and you've mentioned extensively about the idea of I believe something like a war cabinet, but maybe now in this era, a psychological war cabinet where everybody to sit in one table. how will that go in line with the constituents that have voted for you? Because you were an UMNO man all this while, and all of a sudden, of course, it is going to take time for you to explain that it was not party hopping. It was just, you retracted the support for the Chief Minister, and you are joining and you are forming a new coalition or joining a new political party. How are you going to explain this to your constituents who have voted for you time and time again as an UMNO man? And do you have sufficient time from now until the 20th of November? What's your strategy?
You put it correctly. Yeah, you put it correctly, Mohana. But you know that politics is always the art of all possibility. So I believe the UMNO supporters, the Malay supporters who have been voted me for the past 4 terms, 2 terms as an MP and then 2 terms as a state assemblyman, I believe they have the same idea. Everyone is looking for a brighterment and betterment in the future. So there have to be formula. We cannot just take it lightly. We cannot take things for granted like, it's going to be happening and it's not going to be happening. It has to be a real serious calculation, step by step. I believe now with the social media reach out to the voters on the ground, with the WhatsApp, with the information within the fingertips, the people of Malaysia, especially the younger generation, they would opt for living in harmony, living in peace, living in tranquility. They don't want all this political struggle between parties cause their harmony, let alone when we have the pandemic around us now. So I believe the people are ready for the new political landscape of Malaysia. I believe it's a hard work for me to do. I believe that I got to go down and really explain to the people. Thank you, BBTV, for introducing me to the people. And I also take into serious consideration about the old sets of mentality who refuse to change. Yes, we've got to face it. And I'm quite optimistic that majority of Malaysian, especially Malaccan, will be induced with the idea of having properly represented government through unity government.
All right.
I strongly believe.
Yes, we all hope for a change in the political landscape once and for all, so that we all can be united and move forward as Malaysians. And if it can happen in Malacca, and if Malacca can set that precedent, then I believe it can be a formula that can be applied in other states. But here's where I'm going to come to the next question. If this works out in Malacca, then does it mean that it has set a precedent for other DONs, other legislative assemblies in the states to also follow suit and collapse almost immediately before GE15? Is that the message that we're sending out?
I wouldn't be the best person to recommend that, but I believe if it happened in Malacca, other states will think, why not happen in our states? But I cannot stop that from happening, and I cannot encourage that to happen. But I believe the least that we could do is to spark the idea of, again, I have to mention it over and over again, the idea of a unity government, the idea of and find the idea of rahmatan lil alamin. So when you have a set of leaders who are emphasizing or who are reiterating on the capability of Malay Muslim leaders to offer better and brighter condition for the people, that would be the best option that we have now. As I have mentioned in my debates in the last State Assembly during the debates on Ahli Sunnah wal Jama'ah motion by the Chief Minister, I would say that we have to live with the new ideology, with the new mindset now. Islam is not just for Malay only. Islam should be covering all races, the Chinese, the Indian, and all the ethnics from Sabah and Sarawak. If we are limiting the Islam to the Malay only, we might have the Islamic image dented or tarnished. So please, Islam cannot be cannot be dependent on the Malay capacity or the Malay capability. It has to be wider and broader. It should be reaching out throughout the whole society in our nation. I believe many people are upholding this idea, and I strongly believe, if this idea are explained and clarified well to the mass on the ground, it will be accepted. And it is up to other states whether to emulate what Malacca has gone through, as they say that everything began in Malacca.
That's right. So you do not encourage a fall or a collapse of a state government, but do you think what they could do is maybe something that you actually projected for it to happen previously, which is for the chief ministers to step down and a realignment process? So do you think maybe they could
be happening?
That could be possible?
Yeah, the original idea is when we had the majority, the simple move by the state authority at that time is just to hand it over to us, and we'll form the new government, and we will display whatever we have committed to the people, to reach out the people regardless, impartial, competent, transparent, and we'll do our level best responsibly. But well, it is part of our potential problem analysis. Yeah, we mentioned about what if. This is the big question. What if it is dissolved? Then we say that if it is dissolved, then we have to face the consequence during the Pilihan Raya Negeri. And what if darurat? Well, darurat, then we have to continue explaining to the people we have been treated unfairly, we have been treated unjustly. But the idea of us forming the new government is to offer the people of Malacca something that we are supposed to be doing as the government. You mentioned about the politics over and above the government. It cannot be happening. We want the rakyat over and above the politics, and the rakyat is also over and above the government all the time, not just during the election.
Okay, Dato Sri. Now, before we go towards the end,
the time up.
No, I've got just two more questions for you, and these two. Okay, let's just say everything is spring and dandy, and we are coming towards the fact that you are now. Let's look at the picture that maybe you are now the CM designate already, and this is post-election. You know, we are talking about the 21st, 22nd of November, and you are now the chief minister designate. What are the confidence that you have, and aren't you afraid that this can also happen to you if you become the next chief minister? What's your take on that, for something like this to happen again before the GE15? Specifically, the action could be taken by someone from DAP, for that matter.
Well, I've been the chief minister. I've been given the opportunity to be the CM of Malacca for 5 years. During my tenure as the chief minister, I think if anything went wrong, or if I did something illegally, or they found some corruption taking place, I would have been detected during the 22 months when PH was in office as the government. I think they did that, and they didn't find all those exercise or misdoing during my tenure as the chief minister. I am very proud. Among my policy during the chief minister of Malacca in 2013 is I gathered all my family members, and I was telling them, like, please pray for me so that I can face this challenge and be a successful leader of Malacca. And I acquire from them. I asked them to do me a favor. During my tenure, not anyone from my family members, bin Idris or bin Harun, binti Harun, please, none of you to apply even an inch of the state land. I think that policy is quite unpopular within my family members and even among my close friends. But I managed to do it. I managed to implement it. By the end of the 5th year, you can check within the state of Malacca, not even one of my family members or close a relative even try to apply a state land. So that's my first moral delivery for the state government at the time. And now there have been talks of the town that will be leading Malacca. Well, I put that as a, I mean, it could be or cannot be. What more important now is for me to focus on the state election, for me to ensure that the people, the voters understand the mission, and whoever leads the Malacca, not necessarily, as I have mentioned in my speech last night during the PKR gathering, I say that it's not important who's leading Malacca, but it's more important the combination of the CM, the 10 CM of Malacca and the 11 CM of Malacca, which if you add up the 10 and 11, you'll be getting 21. So this is the 21st century leadership of Malacca that we have got to offer to the people. I know that there are some internal politics between DAP, PKR and Amanah, and everybody has their own sets of ambition and vision. So I put those aside. What more important for us now is to go through this election and win handsomely, and we'll submit ourselves to the leadership of Pakatan Harapan for whomever they think qualified or able or competent to lead the states of Malacca. I don't put that as a stumbling block for me to move on. What more important, me and the other three, is to endure this internal politics within party. You know that we've been sacked from UMNO. That doesn't matter to me. I sacked from one house being a professional. If you are sacked from BBTV, you will have to look for Mohan for other job in other TV. So professionally, I think I need a house. I need a structure for me to move on, for me to go on with my political endeavors. And this is my struggle. This is my friend's struggle. The four of us, we want to see Malaysia and Malacca to be in a better place in the future. So it's not very important whether I am a designated CM or whoever they are, as long as the people of Malacca has confidence on us and vote us in for the future state election, we will be very happy to see the new political landscape and the tremendous transformation, or you shall call it reformation, in the state administration in Malacca, our beloved state. The glories shall return, Mohana, inshallah.
I hear you loud and clear, Dato Sri, and I was just about to ask you further about what are your thoughts of being the next CM, and what would you be worried about if you were to be called as a puppet of DAP? But I think you've summed up everything in my previous question.
Yeah. You know that a puppet is the attributes of incompetency, irresponsible, and all those negative connotations. So if you have knowledge, if you are competent, if you are able, if you have the capacity, if you have the capability to transform, to reform, you will never become a puppet. It always been a subject of knowledge. So Mohana, here, it has to always begin with knowledge. And knowledge will create competence. And I always put the mastery level as unconsciously competent will be the utmost. And every one of us, like you and me, we have to start with the unconsciously incompetent. And it's our challenge. How can we upgrade ourselves to the next level to be consciously incompetent? At least you know what you don't know. So now, I think everybody in Malacca is in the state of consciously competent. So our main challenge is to put ourselves a stage higher to be unconsciously competent. So I believe with the quality that I've set for Malacca when I was in office as Chief Minister, when I told the people of Malacca, plus the government servants of Malacca, to first and foremost to deliver the utmost quality product and services to the people of Malacca. And this is the main challenge. And second, to establish the system that can ensure the consistency of the quality of the product and the products delivered to the people of Malacca. Third, the environment of Malacca must be conducive. When people come to Malacca, they feel Malacca like home. They want to be in Malacca, always to be in Malacca with all the cleanliness, the beautification program. That's when I came up with the slogan, "Don't mess with Malacca." And finally, the people of Malacca must be in the right set of the mentality, the world-class mentality. I put it in a very simple term: whatever you do must always think of the consequence. What would be the implication? Anything you say, anything you do, anything you act. And my simplest analogy for the people of Malacca: those who have little in the hand would rather to dirty their pockets than dirty the environment. So with all complete attributes of Malacca, I believe Malacca will progress faster and greater than other states in Malaysia.
All right, Dato Sri, I'm very sure our viewers are glad or probably delighted to see a different side of Dato Sri Idris Harun, because from yesterday's comments that we received in our BBTV Facebook page, they were still some of them who were on the fence and some of them who were still not sure about you, your leadership, and where you're going to end up in the party and all that. But today you've given a completely different spectrum. You've showcased a complete different spectrum of what you can and what you will not be doing anymore. Together with Pakatan Harapan, you've mentioned time and time again. You've mentioned 10 plus 1, 21, 21st century political leadership. You've mentioned things that we've not heard about, or some of us who would like to or would love to have heard about 3 years back from you. Now you are saying it. So
I was the opposition leader. I was the opposition leader for 22 months. I think I performed, and then during the tenure as the opposition leader, I remember that I told Adli, the chief minister at that time, I told Adli, you have the quality to lead Malacca. Why don't you come to our side and we support you? And then it was round applause. He received round applause from the opposition at that time. And another thing that I would like to share with you, Mohana, this is something that I have always in mind. That is like, you can take me out of the kampung. And I am a kampung boy, you know. You can always take me out of the kampung, but you cannot take the kampung out of me. Itu my policy, actually. So if UMNO people still condemning me, call me traitors, label me old names, I would say that they did the same to Tun Dr. Mahathir. They did the same to Tan Sri Muhyiddin when Tan Sri Muhyiddin out of the party. They did the same to Datuk Onn Jaafar way before that, and many people has been labeled as a traitor to UMNO. But I'm not in UMNO anymore, so I don't oblige to say any good things to them. But I would say just all those traitors who have been labeled as traitors once become the prime minister again. Tan Sri Muhyiddin became the prime minister. So this is the situation that we need to always have at the back of our head. If you hate people, don't hate them to the wall. If you like people, don't like them to the wall. We have to always take the moderate line at the center there. Going back to what I've said to you just now, Mohana, we become to realize the unity government. We have to always remember, we cannot deal with extremism. We have to manage them. We have to always meet at the halfway, meet at the center. We want all people to be happy, to be living in harmony, to be living in solidarity, to be living in tranquility in our most beloved country, Malaysia, particularly in our most beloved state in Malacca.
All right, Dato Sri, and that brings us to the end of our segment. We will want to catch
Is that it?
Yes,
Is that
Dato'
it?
Sri. But hold on, I was just about to wrap it up by saying that we will want to speak with you again once you've received your Watika and once the nominations are confirmed and filed and announced. We want to have another session with you about the manifestos and the strategies that are going to go onto the ground to meet the people. Will that be possible? Because we've done session 1 yesterday. Today, a more in-depth version that actually gave us a lot more insights and details about your personal experiences and insights and things that you've shared that we've never heard before. So maybe let's set a date now that we will speak again once nomination is announced.
Thank you.
Can you do that?
Thank you, Moana. I'm delighted to have been interviewed by you. You are very knowledgeable, and I think you have done a lot of homework about me. You have done a lot of reading about me. Thank you very much, and I have the pleasure to be your interviewee. And I got no doubts that we're going to be meeting again, inshallah. I believe. I still keep my finger crossed. I believe that if I'm given this best opportunity to be representing any party, I will do my level best, and we'll be meeting again. Inshallah, inshallah. Don't worry, Moana. Thank you very much for all your good words. And I know that during this difficult time, we need to be always on our toe, and been very busy keeping up with all these live online and the press, the media. And this is the first time I've been interviewed in English media. Thank you very much. And I believe my friends from Indian and Chinese and other races from Sabah and Sarawak, please appreciate what I'm trying to express. I'm expressing myself. I don't want to be categorized as to be look impressive and whatnot. I'm just trying to express myself to the level best, so that all we together can form a better and brighter Malaysian in the future. Remember that political stability is the most important tools and instrument for us to drive our economic sector and social sector. They come in tandem. So I believe with the idea of forming a unity government with a spirit of unity in diversity, everyone will prefer Malaysia to be in a greater height in the near future.
We hope so too, Dato' Sri, and we hope, we wish you all the best, and we definitely look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you for joining us once again at a very short notice. Okay?
Yeah. Likewise.
Yes.
Yeah. Likewise, send my regards to all the crews, especially Datuk Syam.
Definitely.
Datuk Syam, I know he's around there. Please don't ask so much hard question or provocative question. Although I prefer to answer them, but it made me in a very uncomfortable situation. Thank you, Mohana. Yeah.
All right.
I wish to see you again.
Thank you, Dato' Sri. We will speak soon.
Our slogan for Melaka, this one for the viewers, Selamatkan Melaka.
Selamatkan Melaka. All right. So, once again, viewers, we hope you've had a good time listening to what Dato' Sri Idris Harun had to say. We'll definitely catch up again. And Dato' Sri, we will bid farewell to you right now, and hope to see you again. Hope you have the good rest for the rest of the day. We wish you all the best for your campaign. We hope to see you succeed in the plans that you have mentioned. Sounded very Malaysian, sounded very nice to hear about the unity government. One thing that when it comes to politicians in our country, it's about the execution. So we would like to see that coming to light. Once again, all the best from all of us at BBTV. Thank you, Dato' Sri. Thank you for joining us. And to the viewers, thank you so much for your time that you've tuned in with us. And once again, we will catch up with you on the second segment or the follow-up segments with Dato' Sri Idris Harun and maybe his colleagues and the other MPs involved. My name is Mohana for BBTV. And this is Dato' Sri Idris Harun, our special guest. We wish you goodbye and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.